Hey guys, welcome to the Real Deal video blog, and this week I want to talk to you about building support systems in recovery. And it all seems pretty obvious, right? You've got to have people around you who are supporting you and rooting for you, and people you can turn to when times get hard. But this is something that a lot of people struggle with. When it comes to active addiction, most people definitely don't have the support they need when they're drinking and using. Your average healthy person has a network of people they can rely on when things get tough. People to support them, people to hang out and do healthy things with, people they can talk to when they're feeling upset. I'm talking about friends, family, classmates, coworkers. They have a community around them. But that tends to all go away in addiction. First of all, people in active addiction tend to associate with others doing the same things as them. So instead of hanging out with healthy people, those relationships get put to the side a little bit, and addicts tend to hang out with people who want to party as hard as they do, and who can blame them. You know, you want to hang out with people who are doing the same things as you, but that can have some pretty serious consequences in this case. Those people tend not to be very supportive, to say the least. They can be a really bad influence and lead the path even to an even darker place. And besides that, addiction has a lot of side effects, and by that I mean a lot of bad behavior tends to go along with addiction, and you know, obviously people are sick, and they're influenced to do these things, but at the end of the day, they do also have responsibility for them, and some of what they do is burn bridges. They do things that cause damage in relationships, and the other people understandably are hurt and cut these people off, or reduce the amount they're willing to help these people. And those positive relationships with friends and family, those go away. And people who are drinking and using and who are going through a really rough time in their life, they're only left with the people that they were drinking and using with. It's not a good situation, and it only makes a hard situation harder for them. You know, even though it's something that they did, it's still a really tough, unfortunate situation, and it needs to be fixed. And this is really how, at least part of how, the spiral of addiction happens. Things just go down and down, and life gets worse, and people use and drink more, and it gets out of control. Things just get worse and worse. But as I've discussed before, it's not as simple as just putting down the drugs and alcohol. Getting sober doesn't necessarily equal recovery. It's just the first step toward recovery. It's not like you get sober, flip a switch, and you're better. You walk into your new job the next day with a smile on your face, feeling healthy, looking good. You know, you have to do a lot of things if you want to stay sober and have a good life, and building a support system is a really important thing. So how do you go about doing that? Well, an easy first step is just to go to treatment and sober living. These programs are filled with people who are just like you, people in early recovery, and this is a great time if you're in treatment or you're in sober living not to worry about working or school or whatever other problems. Just do your best to focus on bonding with others, building relationships, supporting each other, and most of all, working on yourself, working on your own recovery. And you'll be able to support each other as you begin your journey. Of course, you'll be moving slowly back to the real world over time, progressing through treatment, progressing through sober living. These things are temporary. They might last for 6 months or a year, but they're going to end eventually. And that means you'll have to be a bit more independent. And I'm including people here who maybe didn't have the resources or the chance to go to treatment and sober living. But regardless, you can't just rely on your sober house roommates for the rest of your life. And that means that you'll have to use resources that are out there in the community. And really, if you're going to treatment, you should be doing these from the beginning. Any good treatment center will be introducing you, but I'm talking about programs like NA, AA, Smart Recovery, church groups, and that's just to name a few that are available in every city. No matter what your beliefs are and what you feel comfortable, what kind of crowd you feel comfortable with, what you feel comfortable talking about, there is a group out there for you. I can promise you that. And it takes time to find one, and it takes time in general to build a community, and you might feel lonely at first. That is definitely something that happens, something that most people, I would say, experience. But the good news is that's the hardest part. Early recovery is the hardest part, and those first few relationships, reaching out those first few times, getting out into the community and finding those meetings, those are the toughest steps, and everything is easier from there on out. And once you see the benefit of having a community, you'll know the work was well worth it.